I think we might say that last night the selectmen appointed the HPP committee. Looks like, for starters, that I'm gonna be on the committee and Betsy's gonna be the staff of the committee representing the planning board. My only reservation is, I think the committee is starting out too large. I don't want to get into the argument about it. I think it's starting out too large.
How many people is it?
8, but it'll probably expand to 9 because 8 is, you can wind up with typos, but anyway.
Did you say you're going to be on it?
No, there's 8.
Did you say you were going to be on it?
Yeah, at least for starters. But I have reservations about expanding beyond 7, but here's what I would like, because we have to finish. We have to have a certified housing production plan within about 9 months. So, and so we have to hire the consultant. We have to make recommendations. She has to write the plan. That has to be certified. That all has to happen in 9 months. We don't have time to fool around. And so what I would like, as a condition for the planning board jumping in on this, and I'm serious, is number 1, I would like to have the selectmen give the committee a written mandate. What is it that we're doing? So that doesn't turn global. We're not, and the other thing I would like is a job description for you, so that you don't wind up having to do 100,000 tasks. Because you're already the planner and you're already the
Right.
staff assistant for the town center committee.
Right.
And I want to be sure that the people who are working on that committee know what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So that those are my 2 preconditions for
Right.
jumping in.
I was gonna say that, I am concerned that I may be spread too thin. There's a lot going on with the planning board. The town center committee is working on kind of tidying up some tasks. I don't know where that's gonna go from here, but I view that, there's roughly 6 months, of work ahead of us, and then of intense work.
On the
And
town
it
center
will-
committee?
No, for the housing, production plan. And generally, the state takes anywhere from a month to 3 months to do the review.
Right.
So, and there's also gonna have to be a lot of coordination between other departments,
Yes.
and other boards and commissions. So, I am a little concerned about it. I'm concerned about who's taking the minutes. I'm concerned about a number of issues.
Well, if you want to get into that level of
And
detail.
I have a meeting with Donna about it.
Okay. Well, tell her what my conditions are here. If you want to get into that level of detail, one of the things the committee, I think, ought to be doing is soliciting input from town boards, like the Concom, the Historical Commission, those sorts of things. What criteria to pass along to the consultant who's preparing the plan. We need that input. And it's going to have to be a process of dialogue where we are inclusive without having it be a complete stall so that nothing happens. This is going to be, it's going to be hard to do.
That should be part of your charge from the select board to get that cooperation and urgency from each department.
Right, but what is it?
They should give you that kind of letter of marquee.
Yeah, well, I agree. But it seems to me that our task is to hire and advise the consultant who's preparing the housing production plan. That's our primary task. It's not to reinvent the wheel, it's not to expand into partisan issues, it's to advise that consultant who's putting together the housing production plan. And we'll have to work out how we're gonna do that, but it seems to me that we need that guidance.
Okay.
But isn't there also overlap with, there's the housing partnership, there's the affordable housing committee? How do, you know,
I am actually hoping that out of this housing production plan, there are a number of recommendations on how to deal with the various housing groups in town.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
It's grown.
That's
Right,
all,
right.
right away
Right.
expanded the scope.
Right.
I don't want to do that.
Right,
I
but
want
the
to keep it
You have to,
Yeah.
narrow.
you can't cut them out, they're involved, they were previously involved.
Except
Isn't the
that
housing
they
partnership-
did not come up with a housing
They don't wanna
budget
do
that this
it.
town desperately needs.
That's fine.
So
What is
all of
it?
these disparate
I don't
groups
know.
will care about this affordable housing thing. No one did the plan, that's the bottom line.
That's
We
right.
don't have a plan
Right.
where it's gonna be laughable what happens to us.
Yes.
That's
So,
right.
and after we've done bawling about it, yeah, so, I mean, all these groups have had a
No,
long
I
time to
agree,
get it done.
but they're still, so they haven't done a good enough job, but they're still.
They haven't done a job
If you
at
cut
all.
them out, it becomes more of a problem than if you manage their
I
relationship.
kind of think at this stage, there's this, and it's like you go right around it, and the Board of Selectmen does this new committee, says, thanks guys for trying, but this is the group that now is charged of getting
Right.
this
You
plan
know,
done.
But then there's,
Disband.
Yes, I completely agree with that. One thing that happens with every committee in town is that you get scope creep. Before you know it, the scope gets to be global, it's enormous. We don't have time for that. We do not have
I know
time
that.
for that. We
That's
have
not the
6
issue.
months. Yes, it
that's
is.
not the issue that I'm talking about. The issue I'm talking about is that when you're taking on a problem, you know, you've got to recognize all the different places or groups that may become a block to your solution, and engage them in some fashion, manage them in some fashion, engage them in some fashion as best you can, not lose time with them. We've already lost enough time.
Well, it's
Right.
4 years, now we have 6 months.
But if you cut them out, ignore them, and they feel like, oh, it's a takeover, and we're gonna, resist it, then you end up wasting time defending yourself.
Well, David, think about it.
I do.
Who's going to do it? Who's doing the outreach? What person is doing, it's not gonna be Betsy, because Betsy has enough on her plate already. She's gonna need to advise the consultant and work with the consultant to put together the plan.
So that consultant.
It's one thing to say,
That
we ought to
consultant,
do
part
this,
of
and
that
we
is
should
that
do
they're gonna
that.
have to, well, they have to deal with this situation as it is. And you can't just like say, okay, you guys, thanks a lot, you're disbanded, go away. That's not gonna work. I mean, it's a public process and it's not gonna work.
But I think from what I heard, it sounded like they were more comfortable with professionals doing
They being the select,
it. No.
the
They being the
different
housing
committees.
partnership.
Great, then they're all on board.
So this ad
That's
hoc
good.
committee was created, in other words, in order to create a housing partnership plan. And I think Hal's point is, we need to move it along as quickly as possible in coordination, in conjunction with the town boards where there's intersection.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, but I don't think we go out and solicit blanket opinions. I think we have
No, I didn't say
to
that.
develop a program, we have to follow the program, people can make input when they want, but we have to move in an orderly fashion, meet deadlines in order to get to the finish line, which is sometime next December or January.
It's a critical situation.
Critical,
I don't think
absolutely.
Well,
anybody
the
gets
good
it.
news is they're very highly motivated people to sort of move the ball forward, but it's important, the group definitely is. a small enough size.
We used to
Because
say
trying
in
to
the
coordinate-
OR, make a decision.
Yeah.
We can always work with it, but someone has to make a
Well,
decision.
and
So
I-
someone has to do a plan, and then we can work with
And I
it.
strongly endorse what you're saying about getting a written mission from the select board, and, you know, this is the mandate.
Then we all know, we're sitting around the table, we
Right.
know what it is we're
Right.
supposed to be doing.
And that part, again, as I said before, part of that mandate is, if you go to the Conservation Commission, it's not just like, oh yeah, we'll deal with it, it's like front burner. That it's a high priority as ordered by the selectmen.
Bingo. Okay, well, on that note,